Hey, Golfaholics. Here I am at the Polecat Golf Course, aptly named after the original owner, Dan Pole. Dan, morning. How you doing this morning?
Doing great. Beautiful morning here at the Cat. So we got some players going out, and we got a couple of high school teams. They have the regional here next week, the 28th. So a few of the teams that haven't had a chance to play the Polecat are kind of out testing their skill against it. So the golf course in great shape. It's a beautiful morning, and we'll see what happens the rest of the day. But because Michigan weather's been a little different so far in the spring, but looking forward to a great season here.
Dan, you played the tour for how many years?
Well, off and on. I had some surgeries that kind of curtailed me in 89 and 97, so I really played a really strong 12 years somewhere there, but then I continued on to play. So if you wanted to just add up when I joined versus when I stopped playing, it's good, 25-plus years.
You grew up here in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. You played high school golf. You were successful in college and made it to the tour. You won 4 times, I believe?
No, I only won twice. I had 75 top 10s, but I only won the Colonial Invitational and the World Series of Golf. So had a couple other opportunities, lost a playoff in Hartford and gave away a couple tournaments, and I wish I could take even one shot back.
Maybe the Masters.
Including the 82 Masters, where I just kind of leaked a 6-iron on that playoff hole against Stadler in a bad position and wasn't able to get it down in 2. So who knows, I might have lost it on the 11th hole, but the bottom line is you have a chance to win the Masters, and when people say, oh, you're a runner-up, I said, no, I tied for first. So it wasn't like I got beat by 10 shots or something and finished second. I had an opportunity, and that's all you can ask for.
Danny, you were known as a pretty long driver back in the day. I think you led the tour, 3 or 4 years for a long drive. What do you see in today's tour that you didn't see back then?
Well, obviously the equipment is massive improvement. The golf ball is responding a little bit differently. They're able to test the ball to the club, get the maximum spin rate, get whatever they want. We didn't have a lot of those choices back then.
You had to make it work.
Well, you had to create speed, and at my prime, I was about 126 miles an hour, and most of the time I was in the 118 to 120, so low 20s. So I could generate the power, and with a 43.25-inch steel shaft with a wooden head that was a little heavier, and you could get a little action on it, but it really was a difference in what options were available to you and how you could create more force and more smash factor into the center of the face. And I was able to do that. I mean, that old wooden-headed Wilson that I had, I hit a lot of good long
wood. What's wood?
Well, it's funny because older guys of my era and before, and even leading up to probably the last 10 years, can actually they know about wood. They know how the steel shafts reacted. They know how things, the transition into the new clubs works. The guys now, if you put wooden heads in there and put those old little thin top,
they couldn't keep it on the golf course, could they?
Well, let's just say they wouldn't be creating the type of speeds they are now. That's created by shaft, created by the motion of the, just the body is not going to swing it as hard, but the shaft is reacting. You're seeing, I watch a lot of these younger players that, hit it a long ways, and I say, I'm in the same positions, I was in the time. There's a lot of guys that create that type of force. What is, the advantage that they have? And, obviously with the shafts and I think the ball has really been, moved forward so much that,
using the computer to analyze your swings.
You can match up every feasible opportunity. So maximize the knowledge for efficiency for you. We kind of just judged it on, okay, that looked like it went pretty good, so it felt good. We went ahead and used it. And I can honestly say during my career, I probably only used about 2 different clubs. I had an old wooden-headed Penna that I used to use that was pretty good. And then, a lot of people wouldn't even know who Tony Penna, drivers would be.
I had one myself.
And then the old Wilson, blackhead, red-faced. They always talked about, and mine didn't have the screws in it, but they always say hitting it in the screws. That's the old style. I used to have 4 screws right in the middle, and if you could hit it there, that block of wood, if it was reacting, you could hit it pretty good. But a lot of difference on the off hits.
Dan, you've been around for a long time. You've seen a lot of stuff in golf, and I want to talk to you just a minute about what's going on a little bit with this LIV stuff and the problems that the PGA Tour is having. The commissioner has greatly increased the prices of purses, all these kind of things. But one of the things that we're seeing is that they've gone out and got some outside investment. to come in, and the idea is that they're going to pay some of these guys a chunk of money to make it worthwhile staying on the PGA Tour. How much of that are you going to see?
Zero. Yeah, you wish that they would go back and take a peek at guys that made that tour and that kept it. And this is before me and leading into me. I mean, I was in here from late 70s to the 90s and into the early 2000s where you just had to perform and you might get bonuses based about that, but the tour wasn't giving you any extra. Now again, there's been with the division of the LIV and the the PGA Tour, which is pretty sad. But I think some of the players just felt like the PGA Tour wasn't producing enough financial, windfall or whatever you want to call it in comparison to the other sports. We always knew that, the basketball players, the baseball players, they've had one good year and they sign a multi-year contract and boom, all of a sudden their life is taken care of. The tour always was, okay, I had a great year. Now I got to go back the following year.
Start at zero all over.
Start at zero. You actually didn't start at zero because all your expenses you felt like you had, you're at $100,000 probably in expenses, when you start out. So you really felt like you were starting out in the hole unless you were, could take the chance, take the opportunity of getting a club company that would back you for, the bag, the hat, the whatever. But it certainly wasn't in these kind of numbers. I think you go back to maybe Tom Kite and those guys that were like the first $100,000, sponsorship by clubs, whether it was Hogan or Power Build or, back in the day, I was with Mizuno for a while. I was with MaxFly. So you really picked companies that not only could you play their equipment, which there wasn't such a diversity of equipment that there is now. You felt like, okay, I can work with this company, I work with the clubs, and maybe I can make a little bit of money on the side by, wearing a glove, a hat, and a shirt with the name on it and those type of things.
But you weren't getting the $20 million deals you're getting today.
I didn't quite see any of that. No, that would be, like I said, and I don't think it's bad to bring the level all up. But, what we have as an older group of guys is a retirement program that was worked in. And, if you were fortunate enough to make enough cuts and be fully invested, you had a little bit of a nest egg. But these guys are now, even the kids that are just, not really at the high echelon of players, they're walking away just
after 1 year,
happy as a clam. I see. I was, I worked, as hard as anybody out on the tour to become the type of player I was, and I didn't have. I mean, we used to do corporate outings for $500. You go back in time, and this is just me.
That wouldn't cover too much jet fuel right now.
Wouldn't do it. And you talk to guys now that had better careers, obviously, than I did. We're not bitter. We're not mad. But I think the tour should look back and say, is there a way to...
These guys help grow the tour.
No kidding. I mean, without all these guys, underlings that would go and, where would the tour be? Now, I don't think any of us would ask for, the type of money they're getting. But what gets me with our PGA Tour as an entity, I've asked them a couple of times when Sid White was the marketing director there, and Sid and I always got along, and I knew a lot of the people in the, it was basically when Dean Beeman was there and a couple other, right after him. Why don't you put some outings together where you can bring some of us older guys in, give us a chance. We love the game. We love to meet corporate people. We need, we can go in, we can be at a skybox and just talk to people, tell stories and things like that. You think I've ever been asked to do that? No. You think a lot of these other guys that are Gary Hallberg, Ray O'Reilly, but great personable guys that had good careers, but really haven't been asked by the PGA Tour to back the one entity that we backed so much during our careers.
You guys, I mean, it goes back to, the Hogan days and back to the 40s and the 30s when they got started and when Nicklaus and Palmer broke away from the PGA and formed the PGA Tour. And you were back in the days when the purses weren't quite as big as they are today. And we're seeing a $1.2 billion investment into the tour from these outside entities, the people that own the Boston Red Sox and Arthur Blank, who owns all the stores and stuff. And that money's not getting filtered down to you. It's going to current players that's supposed to make it equal so they don't go jump over to the LIV Tour.
Yeah, I don't think their mind is in the correct place personally, because I think there's, if you make a solid PGA Tour and you just let them play for a lot, the money that's there, that's what it was all built on.
If guys want to jump around and go away, more power to them.
I mean, listen, you got to find out what's best for your family. There was times when I didn't want to be on the road. My family had 3 kids, and we know from the past that a lot of that, build up, cause divorces and cause different things and family issues. So, we go back to when I first started out, Pensacola Open, Southern Open, $200,000 complete purse. You win it, you win $36,000. I have a plaque in my...
That wouldn't cover jet fuel, did it?
Not at all. I have a plaque in the pro shop that I had from the 82 Masters. And I asked people, I said, hey, you follow the Masters. I said, last year the second place was what? Like 1.4 million or something like that. I said, go over there and look at that plaque and just look at those names that are down there, the top 24 that they put on. And they look at the front, and Stadler at 82 won 64,000, I think 63,000 for first prize.
Beat you in the playoff.
Yes, I won 39,000 for second. Now, again, I'm not complaining at the time. 39,000 felt like a lot. But when you compare it to where they're at, and, they're making 1.4 million, for second place, going down substantially down to, if you're 20th place, you're over, you're still making 6 figures. That's a huge jump. That's a huge jump in purses, but you got to thank the corporate people that brought us into the mix, that used to be high on everybody's list of, play where they wanted to play because that corporate sponsor was there. The players played without, thinking about what that total purse was. I mean, and I feel good that I was able to play in the first $1 million event in Vegas, which Greg Norman won, and I finished second there behind him and won more for second place in 87 for the wins I'd had in 86.
Yeah, that's incredible. So, given the state of things, and the PGA Tour has a decent retirement plan. You qualified for that. You're getting some money from that. But do you feel a little bit disenchanted a little bit that the kind of PGA Tour has kind of forgotten about you guys that helped build the tour up over the years?
I would say, I can't lie to you. I think the PGA Tour has forgotten the guys that really, brought this place up. And, I play in Bobby Nichols' event down in Florida, in Naples at Fiddlesticks. You got guys that, he won, he did that. I mean, you would hope that the players would even remember some guys like that, that they would recognize that they're in a very fortunate position to have those type of money opportunities. Now, back in our day, guys would say, well, I'd play even if I didn't get paid. Well, ask any of these guys that are making that, they're getting, their lives are changed maybe in 1 or 2, deals. Like, I just pointed out earlier, I had a lot of top 10s, a lot of really good finishes, but I never was able to accumulate. They can make more in one signature event with a win than I did my entire career. And so I think the PGA Tour would have to understand that,
you guys helped build that up.
We did. And, listen, I'm not bitter. This is not an interview that I'm mad about or anything else. I think it's really important that gentlemen like yourselves look into that type of deal where you say, hey, Tour, what about some of these guys that were, I don't know how you would reimburse. I don't know if it's a number of years or
maybe just take so they got $1.2 billion from these investors. And so maybe 10% of that or 15% of that or something. Now, you don't want to take away from the players on tour today. They need to keep their players. They need to keep the Xander Schauffele's and the Colin Morikawa's and all these guys happy. But you guys build it up to get it where it is today.
It is, and it's a different mentality. It's a different thought process. They talk, they love the tour, and would they have loved it when you were playing for what we're playing for? And I understand, inflation and all that stuff. I mean, I'm here at the golf course. I see, what people can and can't do, how they, what's important to them, and how much they can afford to play or pay to play. But I really do say that if they were ever going to just say, hey, Dan, we appreciate everything you've done. Hey, Bobby, we've appreciated everything you've done. Hey, all these guys, before they pass away, we've lost a lot of really good players, Andy Bean and guys like that weren't recognized for what they did for the tour, and especially maybe regionally, being in the Florida area. I did a lot in Arizona. We raised a lot of money over the years for charities. But all I would say to the tour is that, hey, give us an opportunity to show what we do. I mean, you got guys that love the game, that respect the game, that get along with great people. why wouldn't you put a corporate event together where you bring some of those guys in and say thanks? If they can't do that, then, at least maybe, I think most of us would say, hey, a letter would be nice. Just say that, hey, we appreciated what you did to build this up. We can't, it's not a financial situation for us to give you that, but we want to say thanks.
I want to ask you one last question. You're obviously devoted and loyal to the PGA Tour, and anything that we say here today is, your ideas, and you've been a long-time member and a valued member of the Tour. Let's say back in the day, okay, after 1982, 1984, when you were at your peak, LIB came calling and said, hey, we'll give you $40 million if you stick around for 3 years on our tour. And, oh, by the way, you get to play for these purses, too, where you can make another $4 or $5 million a year in prize money. And you're going to play less events. What would have been your thought process back then?
Well, it would be tough. It wouldn't be.
You have kids, you got a family, you got to take care of all that stuff.
No doubt. But really tell the reason why it is. Okay, I'm doing this. You're not doing it to better the game. You're not doing it to do this. If your family has not have an opportunity to do some of those things, and it makes sense. Yeah, I'm a loyal guy. I was loyal to the companies that I represented, to the people that helped me along the way, to the tour as that entity. We supported it in every way. They didn't do a lot of the stuff back then. Not until they really put the pension together did guys really see any type of long-term help from them. But I would say that bottom line is it would be tough, and I don't take any.
And you're loyal to the PGA Tour.
I don't take anything away from them. But if at the same time, if I knew that the PGA Tour was looking for my future, help or and continuing on, I don't know, just by somebody saying no, I'm not going to play the LIV Tour, but still making millions playing the PGA Tour, that they should be reimbursed. The heavy hitter guys don't need the $200 million. They don't need the $100 million extra.
Tiger doesn't need the $100 million he's going to get from this windfall.
Well, I don't think he does. I mean, if he does, thank. But I thank Tiger, and I think if I had a chance to have Tiger here, I would thank him for what he's done for the game. I thank Jack, and I think that everybody who was, part of the equation. When I see some of the guys that used to do the marketing with the tour, and used to be Mike Bodney, good friend of mine. He went to the qualifying school, was a part of the tour, back in the day. Those type of guys, they brought it all the way through. And, now you look at it, and when the old TPC clubhouse and all the things where they're at, and now you look at that and go, wow, is it more important to build a mecca for your group
players,
or spread it out and take care of
the guys that actually built it?
Exactly. And, what that number is or how that would be. And I don't think anybody wants a handout that used to play. We understood. I made a cut at Pensacola one year, and I made $47. They were 70th place.
That didn't cover your caddy fee, but
we didn't quite do that. You couldn't even do tip money for that. And over the course of time, like winning the Colonials, $108,000. Well, it's in comparison.
I mean, today it's $1.6 million.
I mean, and none of us that would play in that era would would not love to do it the same way again. The question is, why didn't the tour, when guys were, kind of finishing their careers, come to them and said, hey, we want to put together, like if they do the Quicken Loans down there, why not bring about 4 or 5 tour players from this area to hobnob and create interest in the tour that were there? I can tell stories about a lot of things.
You can tell stories.
I sit with guys here, and we just talk about stuff. And it's back in the, I'll call it back in the day, because it wasn't, you and I are close to the same age. So, but it was back in the day. And it's a different feeling. The corporate entity has to know that the PGA Tour and the past guys appreciate where they're at and how they're moving forward. And that's, to me, that's the only way you build, from the backwards to forwards. They're going from up top with nothing spread out.
I agree. So one more thing we'll just touch base on. We're here at Polecat Golf Course, Pohl, Cat, named after you. It's your golf course. When was this built?
Well, we started construction in 1990, opened in May of 92 to a big fanfare. I had Freddie Couples, who had just come off winning the Masters in April. He was here with Dave Stockton. Don Strock played football behind Dan Marino. So Marino and him came from Miami Dolphins, and Dan Marley, who was a star at Central Michigan. So our opening May 26th of 1982 was pretty cool. We had little matches, and the 6 of us went out, and it was fun. And so we've seen the ups and downs of golf. You know, we've went through the good times and the bad times, and now we're hoping that people are able to come out and enjoy this golf course, because it is a good one.
It is. I've played here a couple times. Danny's been kind enough to have us down here a few times, and love the golf course. Plus, you've got a casino right here that brings a lot of people in.
Yes, it does. And I've been told that they give away money most of the time on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay, I'll check that out.
But no, it's been a great connection. You know, we've got Bucks Run just down the road, about 5 miles. You got the casino. You got other activities that bring people in. We have people all the time. The packages that are tied in with the Soaring Eagle casino is fantastic, and we just hope that people, like I said, come here, enjoy the experience, and also we're not charging an arm and a leg. We're only at $99 at our maximum rate. On Mondays, we have a ladies' day for $45, which is unheard of on a quality golf course like this, and $55 for seniors on Tuesday. So we're trying to get people here. I want them to be here. I want them to know what the logo means. I want them to meet me, talk to me, and ask me questions. And I do it almost daily. 2 days ago, Joey Koser from the Red Wings was here with 15 other guys, and we just had a riot. We were talking, pretty much every sport you can, but obviously.
But you used to play a lot of sports.
Well, I was a basketball and baseball guy, too. I had pretty good success at both of those. But, the golf, obviously, picking it as an individual sport, and then being able to talk to a guy like Joe Koser, who was the enforcer for the Red Wings, 4-time Stanley Cup champion, and he's around. People just kind of, wow, he's here. And, oh, by the way, Polecat's here. He built the golf course. They'll come in and say, hey, does Dan Pole ever come around here? I say, yes, I do. Here I am. Well, I played basketball against you when I was at Midland High in 1973. I go, okay. Can't quite remember back that far, but we'll try. But what you're bringing to the game right now, I think, is important. I think you need to have the interesting side of why it's all so top heavy, and why the people that put their blood and guts and their life into the people.
You don't have the trickle down.
Yeah, there's nothing for us once we leave the tour. Yeah, it's a pension, but you've got a lot of players that still can play good enough to do corporate golf, to be a part of the PGA Tour's marketing. I'm in front of the cameras. I've done radio, I've done television, so we know how to connect with the people and show them the passion that we have for the game of golf. I wish the PGA Tour would understand a little bit of that and use us as a positive, and they just don't want to do that.
Been talking with Dan Paul here at Polecat Golf Course right outside of Mount Pleasant, Michigan. This is Dan's course. Bill has run it for many years, and if you stop by, a lot of times he'll be in the clubhouse talking, chatting people up, or even selling you a new golf glove.
Well, take a lot of pictures here with people that say, "Oh, I remember when he played. I was back in the day."
You still have the museum out back?
We've got a few. We use that now. The Colonial Room is named basically because I won the Colonial, but it's used for weddings and things like that, for prepping for that. So it's not quite as visible, but I always thought that the personal touch that I can lend here, and being an ambassador not only for the Polecat but for the game of golf, is critical to using the experiences we had. Because there's nobody, these young guys, they got experiences in a short thing, but the experiences, I gotta worry about what mansion I buy down in Florida or whatever. You look at them and you go, man, look.
Or take that trip to Cancun.
Yeah, look at these houses. We're trying to figure out, can I go down, where we're going to go for a mini vacation, and I can spend $500 or something. These guys, just are. And listen, like I said before, this is not. I love the fact that the tour is caught up, but again, I think you're on target with the idea that why isn't the tour, trickling down, not so much just a cash, somebody handing you cash, but saying, hey, we got an opportunity for you to do some stuff here, and then you can say yes or no. But if you're not even talking to anybody, you're not giving a conversation, then I think that's wrong.
Been talking with Dan Paul here at Polecat Golf Course right outside of Mount Pleasant, Michigan. If you get up this way, up here in northern Michigan, stop by, see Dan. He'll gladly shake your hand and maybe take a picture.
Yep, sure will. Come out. You'll love it. It's a great value. It's a great experience. Our pro shop people and our den staff, fantastic individuals. And all we can do is hope that you come up and give us a chance to show what we can do.
Dan, so great talking to you again, buddy.
Thank you.